On today's episode of the Bolt Crew podcast, the Chargers come out flat against the Giants. The Bolts lose another key player, and we break down the Chargers' most glaring needs. We talk about all of it in this episode of the Bolt Crew podcast.
Hey, yeah, hey, it's the Bolt Crew, and we always win it. Hey, go against us, I don't recommend it. Hey, it's the Bolt Crew, best up in the business. It's the Bolt Crew, repping for the city. Macking on and off the field like Khalil. They hate on us cause we keep it too real. I'm talking smack like Phil Rivers in the field. Oh, you mad again cause we kept it real? Why you mad? Hey, I'm talking smack, I feel like Uncle Dave. Hey, I bring the pain, I feel like Derwin James. I could run and gun, I feel like Herbert down the lane. I feel like LT the way I'm stiff arming these lanes. We just wanna win, we just wanna win, yeah. We just wanna win, we just wanna win, ay. Putting on for the city, putting on for the city. We just wanna win, we just wanna win, yeah.
Hey everyone, welcome to the post-game show for the Chargers loss today to the Giants 21-18. I'm Dave Palais, Josh Palais in the other square. Mario Heron not going to be with us today. Devastated by today's loss, couldn't pull it together. We'll hopefully get Mario back on Tuesday's show. It is one of those where it's an extremely disappointing day if you're a Charger fan. Of course, we want your comments like we always do. Frustrating because people want to use the word or the term trap game all the time, right? And we do see it in the league where we think it as fans. They asked Jim Harbaugh about it before the game started. He goes, I'm not going for that. I mean, Jim Harbaugh has been around a long time as a player and as a coach. And at the same time, you talk about an undefeated team going 3,000 miles to take care of business. We all know it's basically a bunch of time zones you're changing. And at the same time, it's a 10 a.m. kickoff. And we spoke about that on Thursday's show about, hey, here's the deal, Josh, that there's a situation where, you know, you're going to play a game in a time where you normally don't practice. But here we are. The Chargers taking on a team that's 0-3 with the new quarterback. You knew they're going to be motivated to do everything they could for Jackson Dart. And I'll just start from the very beginning. Watching this game made it look like I had watched more film on Jackson Dart than the Chargers had. It was very frustrating because Jackson Dart, everything he did in the first drive was everything he did at Ole Miss. And yet it seemed like it took a drive for the Chargers to figure out what this guy does to be successful. This team loses 21-18, and we can point the finger in a bunch of different directions. We're going to talk about all of it today and what was good and what was bad. But a lot of frustrating things that make you think today, this is not a Super Bowl winning team.
Definitely not a Super Bowl winning performance, that's for sure. When Joe Alt gets injured, the whole game changes, right? The offensive line was already depleted, but when Joe Alt goes out with the high ankle sprain, you're thinking, wow, we might be screwed. And guess what? If you thought that, you would be correct. This offensive line is really bad. I'm not going to say this is on Joe Ortiz because a lot of people have their hand in this, but I would say most of the blame should be on Joe Ortiz. You should have got an offensive lineman in the offseason, whether through free agency or trade. You should have drafted an offensive lineman way higher than you did in the draft. And then when somebody gets hurt, like Rashawn Slater or Joe Alt, now you're scrambling for backups to protect Justin Herbert, your franchise. Obviously, Justin Herbert didn't have his best game, but I would like to see anybody play quarterback when you have Brian Burns running at you, Kayvon Thibodeau running at you, Dexter Lawrence running at you, Abdul Carter trying to knock your head off. Justin Herbert, like I just said, did not have his best game, but nobody's going to play well under those circumstances.
No, not at all. So, you know, you look at what happened to Joe Alt. Very interesting that Neighbors and Alt both left the game when they faced each other for the first time, right? Fortunately for the Chargers, we're going to get our guy back. It looks like Neighbors is lost for the season. Neighbors is a tremendous talent, and obviously you could tell early on that's who Dart was looking for. We aren't Giants fans. I really don't care about the rest of the Giants schedule. What I'm looking at is what the Chargers do. And yeah, you lose Joe Alt. We know he's the best that we possibly have on that offensive line. The offensive line stinks. I mean, everybody knew it except for Jim Harbaugh and Joe Ortiz because they're the ones that talk it up all the time. They've been doing it for 2 years, talking about how great this offensive line is, and we don't need help, and you should see these guys. Compared to who? Compared to who? Because football fans know this offensive line stinks. Justin Herbert knows this offensive line stinks. It's not a good offensive line. It's dangerous every time Herbert gets on the field because of these guys. And again, if you want to win games when it matters most, you're going to face defensive fronts that are extremely talented. The Giants have a really good one. Guess what? The Philadelphia Eagles have a really good one too. There are other teams in the AFC that will sit there and try and get in your way of reaching a Super Bowl that have really good defensive lines also. This is not a good offensive line. And at the same time, you had a ton of money to spend where you could have fixed it. It wasn't one of those where your hands were tied. You had a ton of money to go out there and fix it. So now you're in a situation saying, okay, let's say they absolutely do make a trade. And I'm jumping all the way, people are going, oh, you're going off the cliff on this one. No, because this team does need to make a trade. You hold on to these draft picks all the time, like Justin Herbert's never going to age. You're going to have to make a trade. But if you make a trade, you're still only getting one guy. This right now, you look at the problems on this team, it's more than one guy. There's some problems on defense that we have to worry about. Our pass rush is non-existent. It stinks. Our pass rush stinks, just like we said it was going to stink. Our offensive line is a disappointment. And you guys could sit there and tell me all you want. You guys, Pally, you believer in QJ? I'm not. Actually, you know what? If QJ would have caught that last ball, they would have had a chance to tie the game up. But he didn't. Of course he didn't. Don't tell me about QJ. Ladd had his worst game ever as a pro today. The play where they ran into each other and then they ended up calling offensive pass interference because it was a screen, that was an accident. That wasn't even a planned play. You just had two guys run into each other. It turned into a turnover. 11 points off 2 Charger turnovers. Embarrassing. That was terrible football today. To only lose by 3 was almost a miracle.
Terrible football. Terrible football. Over 100 yards penalties by the Chargers. Just awful all the way around. The offensive line is bad, and we knew the offensive line was going to be bad when you had that many backups in, but it was worse than expected. There's so many times during today's game where you have Zion Johnson blocking nobody, right? He does the pan around the field like, who should I block? Anybody. Just hit anybody. That would be helpful in this situation. Jamari Salyer, same thing. Who should I block? Anybody, buddy. If you could hit anybody, that would be good in this situation. Too many times you have offensive linemen that have no idea who to block. There's clearly 4 guys on that Giants front that are going to get after Justin Herbert. Just hit one of them, for God's sakes. Abdul Carter was having his way with both tackles. We had Brian Burns with a big sack at the end of the game. The Chargers pass rush, I didn't think was that bad. I mean, we had 6 sacks in this game. Usually if you get 6 sacks, that's probably going to be a Chargers win. 2 guys had the games of their life early in their careers, right? You had Thule that had 4 sacks by himself. You had 3 in the first half. Dude was a monster today. Shout out to Thule. And then you had Omarion Hampton, who played like one of the best running backs in the NFL today. I thought he was phenomenal. I am upset with Greg Roman when Omarion Hampton breaks off a 54-yard touchdown. And then the next series, guess what the Chargers do? They don't run the ball again. Then they have to punt it away. If you know that the run's working, give it back to Omarion Hampton. We obviously cannot block for Justin Herbert. And if you have a hot hand in Omarion Hampton, keep giving it to him, because that was the one thing the Chargers offensive line could do mostly today was run block.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, there are 2 guys who are getting on that plane right now who are going, at a good game. Inside, they're saying it. They're not saying it to anybody else. And they're right. There are 2 guys that had outstanding games for the Chargers. It doesn't work that way. And I see in the comments, someone said, Dable outcoached Harbaugh today. It seemed that way. That's how it felt. I mean, you're talking about a guy who's on the hot seat to maybe lucky to last after today's game. If he doesn't get a win, Dable's going to keep his job. Guess what? They're going to go to New Orleans, meeting the Giants next week, and probably pull out another win. All of a sudden, that team's going to have 2 wins, and everyone's going to believe in what the Giants can possibly do. For the Chargers, they needed this one. They needed not only to go 4-0, but the schedule gets tougher, as we said down the line. You have the Commanders coming to town. We don't know if Jaden Daniels is going to play in that game. The Commanders are one of the better teams. They were in the NFC Championship game a year ago. So here you are, this Charger team right now, and has you scratching your head. What is this Charger team all about? Because you don't want to fall to 3-2. It's a huge difference of where they were at and beating teams you're supposed to beat. This was a game you're supposed to beat. Smartest decision I made the entire week, by the way, was not getting on a plane and going to watch this game in person. I kept telling you this is the best week of the year weather-wise to be in New York. And I said, how did I not go? Number 1, it's a great week. 2, is the Chargers are playing. Right now, I'd be getting my ass kicked by about 20 Giant fans in the Meadowlands parking lot. That's what would be happening to me right now at this very moment, because I'd be the guy there with the Charger gear on, and everyone would have to say something. And next thing you know, it gets ugly. Smartest move I made was stay right here and just lose my mind at home. And I'm tell you what, extremely frustrated with what I saw. And I'd love to say, Josh, if they just did this, there are answers to the Chargers' problems. It doesn't feel that way. It feels like we have more questions than answers right now.
Yeah, there's a lot of areas where we're concerned and upset. We've already talked about a few of them. What about Ladd McConkey? Huge drop on the first drive of the game, big drop on the second drive of the game, and then was kind of phased out of the game by Justin Herbert the entire time. That was something I didn't foresee in this game. I thought Ladd McConkey is going to be wide receiver 1 of this team. Everybody believed Ladd McConkey is going to be wide receiver 1. In this game, he was wide receiver 3, maybe, right? There's no targets for Ladd McConkey in this game. He's going to QJ most of the time. He's going to Keenan Allen most of the time. What are your thoughts on Ladd McConkey just being a complete non-factor in this game?
Didn't make sense. It didn't make sense, right? I mean, here's a guy that has obviously every professional pass he's caught has basically come from Justin Herbert. Two is, you want to talk about time zones, the guy played in the East Coast time zone. I mean, I don't even have an excuse for how we played so poor. I mean, as you said, and people are writing in the chat, it set the tone on the first series. It was a key third down. He drops the ball. They would have extended the drive, and then the drive's over, and you give the ball back to the Giants. They march down the field, and Jackson Dart runs it in for a touchdown and put them on the board. Boom, Chargers give up a score right away. And then you go, well, Lad's not going to do that again. Well, Lad, watch this. I'm going to do this again. You know what I want in life? I want everybody in life to be as good at their job as Derwin James is. And people, on the side sitting there saying in our chat, we look slow out there. I was amazed how many times when we had contact that we were pushed back. It's like, you hear Jim Harbaugh say it all the time. You basically put your will on the other person. And we didn't do that. It seemed like we were getting knocked back every time there was contact. It looked like we were tired. It looked like we were out of shape. Outside of, obviously you mentioned Tully and the great game he had. Derwin James, man, you talk about leaving it all on the field. He is really good at his job. He can't do it by himself. I didn't understand a lot of things they did defensively. Again, Jesse Minter, who we never criticized on the show, I didn't understand how the Chargers went about this. I think the casual football fan would have understood the Giants running game and would have understood Jackson Dart's strengths. Yet it didn't seem like the Chargers were prepared at all the way it looked.
Yeah, part of this has to go on coaching. When your best player, Malik Neighbors, is out of the game, and you think the Chargers are going to take advantage of this, the Chargers already have a very good defense. Who's Jackson Dart going to throw the ball to? Darius Slayton? Yeah, he's going to throw the ball to Darius Slayton 3 times, 44 yards. But even if they're throwing the ball to Darius Slayton, take him away. You have a good enough defense where you can take away Darius Slayton. They ran the ball with Scadaboo 25 times for 79 yards. He didn't have the best game according to the box score, but he was getting a lot of push after he was getting hit. He was pushing the defense around. I didn't like the way that the Chargers put Tarheeb still returning punts. I mean, the special teams in this game was pretty terrible overall. J.K. Scott had easily his worst game of the season. Tarheeb still, never let him return a punt ever again. Ever again. Buddy, you got to go up the field. You can't go side to side. It's not going to work. Unless you're Tyreek Hill fast, you got to go up the field. Doesn't matter. Never let him return a punt again. Don't even let Ladd McConkey return punts. Have somebody in there that, like KLS, an offensive player that can run with the football and can get up the field. If you can't return the punts, more than 5 yards, you're not helping the team. And then J.K. Scott, he muffs 2 punts out there himself. I just hated the way the special teams played. I hated the way the offense played. I thought the defense played well enough to win this game. I understand they didn't have their best game, but when you're pinned within your own 5 by a freak Justin Herbert interception to Dexter Lawrence, then another interception to Andrew Phillips, and then you stand up on one of them, allow 3 points on the other, I thought the defense was good enough to win this game.
It was good enough to win this game. You're absolutely right. It's not the defense's fault. They gave up 11 points on basically turnovers by the Chargers. They played well enough to win this game. Look, this is not a good Giant team. When you break down the NFL as far as teams that, saying, hey, we got a ball game going, the Giants don't fall in that category. They're one of the worst teams in this league. I don't care where you play this game. It doesn't matter that the game was in New Jersey. The deal is the Giants stink. You had a quarterback playing his very first NFL game, and you couldn't throw enough at him to stop him. You had a running back that's a rookie that basically all he does is he's a big bowling ball. You couldn't stop him. It was very concerning to me that the Chargers didn't look like the more physical team. They didn't look like the team that gave the best effort. They didn't look like the team that was coached well, which I think shocks me more than anything else. And again, I'm curious to see how they come out. The best thing about a sport like baseball or basketball is there's always a game either tomorrow or the next day. We have to wait a week to see what this Charger team is going to be like against Washington. This bad taste in your mouth, it stinks. Losing is terrible. It's so great when your team is winning. Now we're sitting there watching, everyone's glued to what's happening in the Chiefs game. And again, we're in front, but you're sitting there going, man, I hope the teams behind us lose. You kind of want to take care of the division. I can't tell you again how important it is that this team gets to host a playoff game.
It's very important, and you have to win these games. I mentioned a second ago, Cam Scadaboo ran the ball 25 times for 79 yards. That's 3.2 yards a carry. Amarian Hampton, another rookie running back, 12 carries, 128 yards, 10.7 yards per carry. I'm not great at math, but if you're getting 10.7 yards per carry, is that a first down every time you touch the ball on average? That is. So give me a reason why you wouldn't run Omarion Hampton more than 12 times. Are you scared of him getting injured? What's Greg Roman's thinking on that? I can't have any idea what he's doing there.
Got news for you. The more you run it, the more it's going to open up the pass, and that's just the way it's going to work. The more you run it, the more it's going to open up the pass, because we spoke about it before the game started. And what do we say? Outside of the front four for the Giants, the defensive backs for the Giants aren't very good. This is a team that you should be able to take care of through there. But guess what? The Giants were able to read what the Chargers do on offense. We played right into their hands. We spoke about this in teams that the Chargers have beat. So we've said, how come they didn't stay with the run? It seemed like your better chance of going after the Chargers was going through the run. And then we're going to see it more and more. We're going to see it next week too. We're going to see it for the rest of the year. What are the Chargers going to do as far as the run goes on number one, defensively, and two, offensively? Are we going to establish it more? Hampton definitely has deserved to put the ball in his hands a lot more. I mean, the game he had today was his breakout game. Unfortunately, it came in a loss.
Yeah, came in a loss. He's the only player to run the ball besides Justin Herbert, which wasn't really a run, right? He's scrambling for his life. In my eyes, the Chargers need to bring in another running back, obviously a running back behind Hampton. Hassan Haskins isn't it. We all know Hassan Haskins isn't it. You got to get rid of Tyler Conklin, right? Tyler Conklin was a miss. I think 4 games into the season, you can declare that Tyler Conklin is a complete miss on this team. He brings nothing. This is also 2 games in a row, as you just mentioned, that our line was getting pushed. The first drive by the Giants was like a wave going down the field, right? The offensive line of the Giants was just pushing our defensive guys back. Chargers defense stepped up from there. But the offensive line of the Chargers was a revolving door, right? If the Giants wanted to send pressure and get to Justin Herbert, they were going to get to Justin Herbert. How much do you put on Justin Herbert in this game? Obviously, he wasn't comfortable in the pocket. He threw the ball 41 times, completed 23 of them for only 203 yards, two interceptions and a touchdown.
Yeah, it was one of Justin Herbert's worst games. It started making me think of what happened in the Texans game. Like, what happened? Where's our Justin Herbert? This isn't the Justin Herbert we know. I'll tell you this, though, too, as Charger fans who say Justin Herbert, as good as he's been the first 3 games, and he's the best quarterback in the league, and if he's not, he's top 2. Look, the referees in the NFL are not giving Justin Herbert the star treatment. I mean, how many times do you see hands to the face and it wasn't called? How many times did you see Justin Herbert either hit late, or as the one where Jim Harbaugh got upset about, where he was wrapped around the legs, where then the call was, we're going to pick the flag up and say that he was blocked into Justin Herbert. Well, Jim Harbaugh's comment was he might have been blocked into him, but why do you wrap up his legs? That's where the knee injury comes from. That's when Tom Brady missed his season with the Patriots. Same thing. You got to be careful about it. It's in the rule book, but hands to the face every single time is called. And to get a head slap or a hand on the face mask, it is called in this league. For Justin Herbert not to get those calls out there shows you the NFL doesn't look at Justin Herbert as a superstar. There's no reason to protect him. If that was Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, I'll even say Jared Goff, you're getting those calls. And the Chargers didn't get those calls today. There were about 4 instances where it should have been automatic first down and 15 yards. Didn't happen. So if you're a Charger fan and you're sitting there talking about number 10's our guy, hey, he might be our guy, but he's not the NFL's guy. You should be concerned about how the NFL looks at Justin Herbert.
Yeah, the one that bothers me is the hands to the face. Justin Herbert is one of the tallest players on the field. If a guy's going to hit his ankles, maybe the referee might miss it because there's so many players in a congested area. But when you have the tallest guy by himself with a hand to the face mask, it's clear as day. Anybody can see that. You can see that from the stands when a quarterback takes a hand to the face. That should be a penalty. But the Chargers also created a lot of penalties on themselves. Back-to-back offensive line penalties should never happen in youth football. The Chargers pulled that off today. Congratulations. Lining up in the neutral zone should never happen. You can see the ball. If you know where the ball's at, step back. Chargers did that a couple of times today. They had 14 penalties for 104 yards. You're not going to win many football games when you have over 100 yards of penalties. Was there any penalty in particular that made you more frustrated than the others, or were you just frustrated as a whole?
Frustrated as a whole. The penalty that would hurt was the one where they called the legal pick, which was an interception. That one hurt. It was like, wait a second, we just threw an interception and we ran an illegal pick. Like, how did we do that? And obviously, it wasn't meant to be an illegal pick. We just had 2 guys that ran into each other. It was bizarre. It was crazy. Not Singletary. Simmons ended up with interception on that. And Phillips. I'm sorry. Singletary's on my mind, by the way. I'll bring it up real quick. And I know it's one of those other people don't notice, but I always say on the show I'm I'm a jersey freak, a jersey number freak. I love the fact that the Giants give Singletary number 26. They're like, Barkley who? Somebody better wear this jersey number because we're going to give this jersey number out. It was a huge FU to Barkley, who obviously dropped the FU on the Giants' back, but it was funny to see their best player, over the last 7 years, all of a sudden there's another guy wearing that number. Made me laugh that it was on purpose that the Giants did that move. Yeah, I don't know. Is there a penalty that stands out for you, Josh? You asked the question.
Yeah, it's the lad pick, right? Where he trips.
Yeah.
I'm never going to put a loss on a receiver, right? Because typically it's not going to be on a receiver. Lad is a big part of this loss to me. When you aren't a guy that Justin Herbert can rely on because you drop a pass on the first drive, drop a pass on the second drive, and then you run into your own guy, you're like, Lad, what are you doing out there today? Are you going to help the team? I feel like Lad needs to be more part of the game plan, whether it's Justin Herbert that needs to get him involved or Lad himself needs to talk to himself and say, hey, catch these footballs, get open for your guy, because Keenan Allen has completely taken over the Lad role of third down, right? If you need a third down completion, go to Keenan Allen is the way that Justin Herbert thinks. And it's kind of unfortunate because Lad has always been that guy. A couple guys that people are talking about here on the side, I couldn't agree more with the people on the side here that are saying, what is the purpose of having Scott Matlock on this team? I don't get it either. I mean, if Scott Matlock isn't going to block, he's no threat in the passing game, why is he out there? I kind of feel the same way about Tucker Fisk, and I just mentioned a second ago, Tyler Conklin has been a complete zero for this team so far. If Scott Matlock's not blocking anybody, and he's obviously not a threat in the passing game, I don't see what his role is on this team. I believe the Chargers should have a real fullback, somebody that can actually block, somebody that can catch passes, somebody that you need to worry about if you're the defense.
Couldn't agree more. We've been saying it for weeks. You look at it, you want it to work out. It was a great story for a while, right? Guy that can play offense, a guy that can play defense. You got a jersey number change. Watch this. Watch what? He doesn't do anything. Every single week, he doesn't do a damn thing. You sit there and you go, what the hell's going on number 44? Every week. There's nothing there. There's nothing. I could cut 3 guys on this team right now. I really could cut more, but I could cut 3 guys right now and just go, what the hell are we doing? It's very, very frustrating. Again, player personnel, when they sit there and they talk the players up to the media, and we're sitting there as Charger fans watching every single play, we know it's BS. It's BS. It's all smoke and mirrors that you're trying to pull on us. We know, and the players know too. Eventually, the players know. Come on, man. There's a major depth problem on this team, and it could have been fixed in the offseason without giving up anything, meaning draft picks. And now whatever trade you do make, if you do make one, it's going to hurt straight out. But you better get a difference maker if you do. I think the most glaring need, Josh, outside of offensive line is they need a little bit of help on the pass rush. I mean, you saw what the Giants did. The Giants aren't the most talented team, man, but really good teams like the Eagles, they make a difference up front. And if you can keep that quarterback uncomfortable, it's going to go a long way. I think the Chargers need some help.
I agree. Bradley Chubb's out there. He's on a terrible Dolphins team. You're asking too much out of guys like Bud Dupree. Bud Dupree's on his last leg in the NFL. You can't expect a lot from him. Obviously, Tooley has 4 sacks, 5 tackles for loss. A phenomenal game for him. But you can't expect him to do that every week. As long as Khalil Mack's not on the field, I think you should go get a pass rusher as well. Like I said, Bradley Chubb is a guy that I would go for. Just a frustrating game overall. One of the funniest parts of the game is that Jackson Dart gets taken out for, I think it was a head injury that the NFL wanted to look at. And then Russell Wilson goes in for one play, penalty, sack, fumble. It was awesome. It was like, go get out of the game, Russell. Like, go grab some bench. Why are you even on the field? That was one of the positives of this game. But obviously it felt like kind of like the Texans game, like you mentioned, was very frustrating. Justin Herbert just didn't look comfortable the entire game. This is 2 games in a row where the Chargers offensive line has been getting pushed around, tons of injuries, but you need some help there. I'd be really surprised if Joe Ortiz doesn't try to bring in somebody. I mean, we don't know what's going on inside the building, but you at least need to try to bring someone in to protect your franchise.
Yeah. Well, this Joe Alt injury will be interesting to see how long he's out for, right? I mean, you go, okay, if it's a high ankle sprain, those are usually a 6-week injury. Let's hope it's something different. Let's hope it's something different for them. Again, it's not as bad if you're the Giants right now. You're like, hey, you got the win, but you lost your number 1 star in Malik Neighbors. So with Joe Alt, at least we know he eventually will come back. But that was not good at all. Do you want to get to some of these comments? A lot of people have a lot to say.
Yep. Please send in your comments. We read every single one of them. AK 199. I don't know what he's trying to say here. He says Ben Herbert need to be fitted. I've seen enough. Has he said beheaded? I hope that's not what he's saying. That'd be terrible.
No.
What is AK? Please clarify what you're trying to say here. What do you want Ben Herbert to do? I'm curious. Voltaire 325, $2 says longtime Bolts fans knew they'd blow this game. I didn't feel that way heading into the game. I felt very comfortable in this game. We obviously talked about this leading up to today. I felt like the Chargers were going to handle business. I was wrong.
Yeah, I thought they were going to handle business too. I said from the very beginning, I didn't think the Giants had enough to even score a touchdown in this game. I just saw the Giants games before, and they did it in the first drive. They did in the very first drive, and it was frustrating. It wasn't to me that they were that great. It was that this is what Jackson Dart does. If you watched him in college, this is what he did at Ole Miss. This is what he does. And Josh, you said it the other day. What do young quarterbacks do that can run? They rely on their legs. They panic and they start to run, and they rely on their legs. Look, Jackson Dart is not Josh Allen. This isn't going to last in this league. That's not what's going to happen. I mean, god dang, he started running. Next thing you know, he's grabbing his leg for a hamstring injury, right away. I mean, to be that young and all of a sudden you have a hamstring injury, it's very frustrating because it didn't feel like the Chargers did their homework on that thing. And, when Jim Harbaugh was quoted as saying, trap game, we don't fall for that. I don't want to hear it. That's how you think it's going to be. When Voltaire says longtime Bolts fan, I knew they're going to blow this game. Yeah, in the past, this was a typical Charger game. This felt like a Charger game as if Norv Turner was coaching it. It's not supposed to happen when Jim Harbaugh's coaching it.
Yep. That's one of the reasons why Jim Harbaugh's here. Jackson Dart, 10 carries, 54 yards, and a touchdown. In comparison, Justin Herbert on the season has 18 carries, 69 yards, no touchdowns. He did have a huge run today for 24 yards. That was his only carry in the game. Matthew Dahl, 199 says 12 penalties and Zion Johnson, horrible game. 14 penalties, actually, Matthew. We had 14 penalties in this game. Zion Johnson was awful. Well, probably his worst game of the season. 2 bad games in a row for the offensive line. Between Zion Johnson and Jamari Sawyer, it would be hard to imagine there's many other guard combinations in the NFL that played worse between those two today.
No, but it's typical. It's like what we expect. It's what we've seen. We see it all the time. I mean, these guys couldn't stop a runny nose. It's ridiculous. It's old.
Yep. Another first-round pick in Zion Johnson. Charlie Sinclair, 999, says 38 passes compared to 9 runs. We watch Hampton gash them every time. Harbaugh and Roman have been good, but they've overcorrected. The game was lost when Hampton didn't get the ball to drive right after his huge run. Exactly. Hampton rushes for 54 yards for a touchdown. Next drive, Greg Roman says, that looks so good, we're not going to do it again. Let's not run the ball. Let's have Justin Herbert throw it 3 times in a row, and then you have J.K. Scott punting the ball away.
I love that decoy offense. Man, it's awesome.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. Quinn Cook, 199. Appreciate it, Quinn.
Thank you.
Gabriel, 5718, 499 says, this loss is on our coaches. 14 penalties for 104 yards. Also, our offensive line still can't pick up stunts.
Yeah, I hate to say it. I felt like this loss was on our coaches. I felt that way from the very beginning. I felt that way from the very first drive that the Giants had. It just didn't seem like they were prepared. The Giants didn't do anything crazy. I mean, I saw more crazy stuff in the Alabama-Georgia game than what I saw today. Today was just like, we're just going to play to our strength, the Giants. We aren't very experienced, but this is our strength. Again, it didn't seem like they were prepared. It's weird to say that at the NFL level, by the way. It's a 5-hour plane flight from LA to New York. What were they watching? Mad Men? What were they looking at on their iPads? What were they watching?
I don't know. If going into this game, you obviously know the Giants have a really good pass rush. You would think this would be a Ladd McConkey game. It wasn't. I don't understand how today wasn't a good game for Ladd McConkey. We needed quick passes to Ladd or Keenan, and today wasn't it. And then the stunts by the Giants, that's the game plan against the Chargers. For anybody that's wondering, if you do a stunt on Sawyer or Johnson, they're going to have a hard time blocking it. If you go right at them, they might block it because they're big dudes. But if you run a stunt, it's a crapshoot. It's probably going to be pressure on the quarterback.
Yeah, you're right.
Sons of Cleat Woodworking, $5 says, our interior acts like they've never seen a twist or stunt. Backups or not, I put a lot of blame on Mike Devlin. Sloppy game all around, though.
Yeah. A couple things. One is I'm interested to hear after the game from some of these players, from Jim Harbaugh's press conference. And Jim never tells you anything good. But one of the things that's interesting, and everybody's been there, we're in a work situation, a work environment, and you let your boss down. Like when Jim Harbaugh gets on that plane and his coach is already sitting down, how do you even make eye contact with him? Honest to God, how do you make eye contact? Even if you're the special teams coach. Hey, look, J.K. Scott, man, we love J.K. Scott because, again, dropping names. J.K. Scott was a teammate of Josh's at Alabama, one of the nicest guys you're going to meet. Dude, you can't shank punts in the NFL? What's wrong with you? How does that happen? I mean, it's insane. Once in a while, you'll see it in college. You'll see it in high school. In the NFL, this is all you do. You don't do anything else but this. How does that happen?
JK's been good up until today. He had 2 muff punts. Today was his worst game of the year. Not good. Not good at all. Quinn Cook, 999, says, Roman's poor offensive game plan. Oh, geez. Oh, yeah, here we go. Roman's poor offensive game plan thus far has been overshadowed by great defensive play and MVP-level play by Herbert through the first 4 weeks. We don't score many points and struggle in the red zone. The Chargers haven't scored 30 points all season. Is that surprising to you? Is that something you'd expect with this team?
Quinn makes a good point right there. I mean, honestly, as the defense saved this Chargers offense in a lot of points, a lot of areas, I should say. Yeah, it's frustrating. I think the most glaring stat out of everything you said today is that Hampton ran the ball 12 times. When you look at it and the way the game was going, and I understand you're playing from behind, Hampton needs to run the ball at least 20-plus times. 20-plus times. I mean, the good teams do it.
Ran it 25 times.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sorry. And maybe Derrick Henry's the wrong name to drop, but, it was working. Yeah, you're taking time off the clock. I got it. But until that last, real drive, did I think that the Chargers had a chance to win. I honestly thought they're going to win. Like, I had the cigar ready to go. And then I was like, I'm putting this away. Cigars are for winners. I'm not smoking today. Not doing that.
Stephanie Chamberlain, 499, says, the score doesn't show how terrible this game was. If Alt is out for any amount of time, we are in trouble. Herbert can't keep taking these hits. I agree 100%. I don't think the score represents how the Chargers played. 21-18 to me is a blessing that you even had the opportunity to tie this game at the end. The Chargers should have never been in that game. They did not play well enough to be in that game. The only reason they were in that game is because they were playing the New York Giants. So they played any team that was close to being a playoff team, they probably would have got blown out.
You're absolutely right. I agree with you. I mean, to lose by 3, it feels like it would have been a lot worse. It should have been a lot worse.
It felt a lot worse during the game.
It did.
Kelvin Gaddis, $10, says, for the Charger fans who feel like giving up, this is a year of fighting. We were never going to breeze into an undefeated postseason. Keep up the faith. Let's go Bolts. I like the positivity, but obviously after a loss, it's hard to be positive when you watch a team that looks as sloppy as the Chargers did today. I think the part of it is so frustrating because the penalties are self-induced. That's on your team. Nobody's making you commit penalties. You're doing that to yourself. And then Joe Ortiz not protecting Justin Herbert and this offense with better offensive linemen and some depth is what really frustrates me the most.
All right, here we go. And I know it's not a super chat here. New York Demon over here says, humble yourself. Very disrespectful the way you all spoke about my Giants. You're 0-3 coming into the game. What the hell are you talking about?
Nobody cares. Get out of here.
You're 2 miracle catches away. Manningham catch against the Patriots, and then the catch on the head from not even winning those Super Bowls. Disrespectful that your team plays in New Jersey and you're called the New York Giants.
Yeah.
F off.
Yeah, go get on the 7 train. Go back to New York City. Get out of
here. Right on the 7 train.
Yeah. Only one Stezo 199 says, in Harbaugh we trust, onward. That's all you can do in this situation. Just move forward, look at your mistakes, and put it together for next week.
Here's the deal with Jim. I mean, here's honestly the deal with the Jim Harbaugh. He hires the guys he hires to do the right thing. And he says that all the time. He expects accountability from his coaches, just like he does his players. He doesn't go in there and say, this is the defensive game plan. This isn't the offensive game plan. Jim's a head coach that oversees. What he is, he's a quality manager. He's a quality boss. But when the guys you hire don't do their jobs, which it didn't look like they did their jobs very well today, I think Jim Harbaugh says there's an issue here. And we've said it for a while, man. How long are you going to go through it where you're going to say, this is fine with what I have? I don't even know what to say. There's a difference, right, of business and friends. We know Greg Roman's one of his really good friends. I don't know if Greg Roman's the right guy overall for this team.
Yeah, come on. It doesn't matter if you're friends.
I don't care.
AK wants
Yeah, they whole story about camping by the beach drives me crazy. I don't give a rat's ass.
AK 199 wants to clarify his comment from earlier. He says, Ben Herbert is trash. He needs to be fired. Thanks. What do you think? Do you think Ben Herbert needs to be fired? I don't think it's Ben Herbert's fault when somebody rolls up on Joe Alt's ankle. I mean, what is Ben Herbert supposed to do in that situation?
Yeah, and I'm not. I don't see any coaches getting dismissed this year, not from the Chargers. So I'll tell you this: a lot of people concerned going into this game that after this game that Brian Daboll would be fired, and then the Giants looking for their new head coach after they go with an interim coach the rest of the year, that Jesse Minter would be the guy that would be in New York next year. Not after today. I don't think the Giants fans are going, man, Jesse Minter's our guy. I didn't see enough that he showed. You know, again, I understand the offense gave them 11 points, but if I'm a Giants fan and you're telling me Jesse Minter's the guy to replace Brian Daboll, I'm like, please look somewhere else.
Mike G, $5 says, tired of seeing Herbert on the bench not motivating his guys. He acts like Kyler Murray on the bench, and it's pissing me off. Okay, so this is who Justin Herbert is, like it or not. Justin Herbert is not the type of guy that's going to be screaming at his teammates on the sideline like Peyton Manning and Tom Brady. He's just not that person. I mean, we've talked about this before. That's just not his MO. Like, he's not a very outspoken person when cameras are showing. Right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. I don't even know if I need that. I mean, my thing is, man, you're a professional athlete. They pay you a lot of money to do your job. If you need Justin Herbert to sit there and go and get in your face, I don't even know what to say. A lot of times, and I'll be honest, I think a lot of this stuff's for the camera. I don't think if there are cameras around, I don't think you'd see other guys do it either, Mike. I just don't. I think it's BS. It's just all, red light Patrick Mahomes. It's one of those deals. Justin Herbert, reality, what he should be doing is he should either be talking upstairs of what they see and what they're going to do next, or looking at that iPad of how they got to him and what they plan on doing to why they're effective against him. He doesn't have time to be the cheerleader. He's a quarterback of this team that needs to put drives together. I think that's all show. It's one of those things in the NFL and pro sports that kind of wears me out.
Jet Flores, $10. He says, complete team collapse. Yeah. I mean, would you rather have it where the whole team sucks? Wait, what?
3 guys did their job today that can honestly, in their mind, they won't say it out loud, can sit there and go, Tuli's like, I did my job. Derwin James is like, I did everything I possibly could. And Hampton can go, dude, this is when this was my breakout game, but I can't celebrate it because we lost. It's the guy that hit Cameron 4 home runs and lost. Yeah.
Cameron Dicker, even though he almost kicked the ball out of bounds and the guy caught it for some reason. I don't know what that was about, but Cameron Dicker made his kicks. I mean, I'd rather have a team loss than on one person. If everybody sucks, it's like, okay, let's just fix this, get together. If it's on one guy, it's like you want to kick him off the team. Actually, I don't even know if I feel that way. How do you feel when you lose? Would you rather it be a team, everybody sucks, or one person blows the game?
No, I think the reality is the right thing to say for Jim Harbaugh is we win as a team, we lose as a team. That's how you build 53 guys, You can't sit there and say what I just said. Like, only 3 guys walk out with their heads held high. The rest of you guys should be embarrassed. I mean, what are you going to do? You can't say that. But you do mention, I think you do mention the great games those guys had. Too bad it didn't equal a win. But it's the same thing. You win as a team, you lose as a team. That's why it's so important in this league. I mean, people understand college football rosters are gigantic on the sidelines. There are a lot of guys that don't get in. If you make an NFL roster, you literally have a job to do every single game. There's nobody on an NFL roster that doesn't belong. Everybody who wears a uniform on Sundays or Monday nights, or whatever you want to say, they're basically they're supposed to do something in that game. There's no wasted space on an NFL roster.
JCA 129 pesos says, Jim's thing is the offensive line is weapons, according to him. If we don't see a trade, I can't see that being true, nor the flowers he gives Justin every day. I mean, he does call his offensive linemen weapons. If you don't have weapons on your team, what are you going to do? I mean, the offensive line right now is bottom 3 of the NFL, as bad as they are with all the injuries.
Yeah, offensive line is terrible. I mean, they're weapons. They're like that sharp knife that you bought that you cut yourself. It's weird. I'm missing a finger. They're weapons against us.
Yeah, we got a bunch of butter knives out there. Ricardo Sotosin, $2. He says, this game was a giant mess.
It was. God dang it, Ricardo. Are you writing headlines for the LA Times? What the hell? It was. Nice play on words.
Yeah. All right. That's all the comments we have. Do you have any other thoughts? What would you like to share?
It's funny. The old, on to Cincinnati, as Bill Belichick would say, it's one of those on to the Commanders. People say, oh, you learn off of this. This is not what guys like Jim Harbaugh do. I guarantee you, Jim Harbaugh's not going, this was good for us that it happened early in the season. Anyone that wants to spin it that way, you're fooling yourself. Losses are not good. I'm sorry. There's no one that says sometimes you have to be reminded what it feels like to lose. Everybody has lost and everybody knows losing stinks. I don't care if it's at football, if it's at checkers, losing is never fun. And that's the kind of atmosphere Jim Harbaugh has basically developed with the Chargers, is that you're going to sit there and you're going to show up every day to win. And any day you don't win, that should ruin your entire week. And that's the way it goes. And to get that bad taste out of your mouth is to come out and do it again, to know what it feels like to win again. But there's no such thing to me of saying, hey, getting a loss under your belt's good. No, it's not. And you hear that all the time, man, when teams are undefeated. It's so stupid to me.
It's dumb.
There's not a person on the planet hasn't lost at something that they were trying to win. We all know what it feels like. Today's game is inexcusable. And it's funny, man. I would love to be an owner of a pro team, Josh, but at the same time, if I'm an owner of this team today, I'm like, I paid for all those hotel rooms and paid for your dinner last night and did this and your private plane for a loss. Like, what a bad investment this weekend was to send you guys to New York City to come back and do that on national TV. If I was an owner, it would drive me crazy. I wouldn't be Jerry Jones where I got to jump in front of the camera. But in my mind, I'm like, I paid all this money for that. That sucked. That wasn't good at all. And if I'm Jim Harbaugh, I'm like, hey, you know what? I got to keep these guys' heads up. And when I see them in the facility and we're preparing on Wednesday for the Commanders, it's got to be, forward. And that's really all you can do. This is one that you should sting for a long time to go, man, we might be 7-1, 8-1, 9-1 down the road. But I also know what these guys in this room are capable of. They're capable of losing to a team like the damn Giants, a team that doesn't have a lot of talent compared to the rest of this league.
We got one more comment from Quinn Cook. 199 says, plans on Roman if the offensive struggles continue. Nothing's going to happen. Just make this very clear. Nothing during the season is probably going to happen to Greg Roman. As bad as he is, it's not like they're going to get rid of him. I mean, he's buddies with Jim Harbaugh. If they get rid of him, it's going to be in the offseason when we're done with the playoffs.
Yeah. Well, I'm telling you right now, if there's a change, the guy at the top of my list, and it's been I think the top of the list for the three of us on the show, has always been Brian Daboll. And you look at Brian Daboll and you go, well, what's his history? Ask Josh Allen about Brian Daboll and why he's successful in Buffalo and how he taught him to be basically a championship, one of the best quarterbacks in this league. Ask Tua and Jalen Hurts about Brian Daboll when they were winning national championships at Alabama. The guy's supposed to be one of the best offensive minds going. There's a very good chance he's going to be unemployed and available at the end of the season. If you have a chance to upgrade in anything in life, you do it. That's what you do. And if you want to sit there and say Greg Roman's not the guy to win a Super Bowl for you, Brian Daboll's one of the first places I'd look.
Jordan Erbacher, 1999. Appreciate it, Jordan. Thank you so much. It's funny because you mentioned Jesse Minter earlier. I thought the Giants are going to be looking at Jesse Minter in this game of possibly their replacement for Brian Daboll. And then you mentioned Brian Daboll could possibly be a replacement for Greg Roman. It's funny how that worked out. I don't know, man. True. If you have a comment about what you think the Chargers should do to fix these struggles, please put it in the comments on YouTube. We read every single one of them. We try to reply to every single one of them. We appreciate it. Dave, do you have any other thoughts before we get out of here?
No, we'll let people get back to the games. I know people want to know what's going on in some of the afternoon games. Obviously, the Chiefs game is important. At the same time, I'm watching Colts. Also, Colts are up on the Rams 10-6 right now as we do the show. There's some good football to watch today, tonight, and of course, Monday as well. And then we'll be back on Tuesday, 1 o'clock Pacific time. Mario will be back to join us. We'll get his thoughts on the game as well. But again, appreciate everyone that joins us immediately after this game. These games, I should say. Talking Charger football with us, everyone that contributed with the super chats, man, we're very grateful for that as well. That goes right into the fun to go ahead and build on free agents for offensive linemen in the offseason. So we do appreciate that as well. So again, Josh said on YouTube, you can go ahead and leave your comments. Josh and I will respond to those. We always do. Otherwise, have a great rest of the afternoon. Again, final score today, Giants 21, Chargers 18. For Josh Palais, I'm Dave Palais. We'll see you Tuesday at 1 o'clock, everybody.
Hey, it's the boat crew, and we always winning. Ayy, go against us, I don't recommend it. Ayy, it's the boat crew, best up in the business. It's the boat crew, reppin' for the city. Mackin' on and off the field like Khalil. They hate on us cause we keep it too real. I'm talking smack like Phil Rivers in the field. Oh, you mad again cause we kept it real? Why you mad? Ay, I'm talking smack, I feel like Uncle Dave. Ay, I bring the pain, I feel like Derwin James. I could run and gun, I feel like Herbert down the lane. I feel like LT the way I'm stiff arming these lanes. We just wanna win, we just wanna win, yeah. Ay, we just wanna win, we just wanna win, ay. Putting on for the city, putting on for the city. We just wanna win, we just wanna win, yeah. Ay, yeah, ay.